Welcome to True Talks with Dio, a podcast where we talk about faith, life, and goals in a real and relatable way. I'm your host, Damilola Emmanuel Oyedepo, and each week we will dive into honest conversations that inspire and uplift. Whether you're looking to grow in your faith or find motivation for your dream, join us for heartfelt discussions that matters. I met a group of persons in the scriptures, a community of people living together in peace and harmony. They had a quiet and secure life. They have everything they needed to themselves. But something happened to them that was quite horrifying for me. I could not just hold it to myself. So I felt I should share what happened to them with us in here. And I will tell you where you can get this sort of persons at the very end of this episode of our podcast. What happened to this set of persons was quite disturbing for me. That is why I'm sharing it with us today. They are a people called the Laish people, and it was recorded that this set of persons were living peacefully. They had everything they wanted to themselves. They have quite an enjoyable life. But one thing that was worthy of attention also in their lifestyle was that they lived very far from every other person, and it was also recorded that they had no business to do with any other person. Now, they had no business to do with every other person because all they needed to sustain themselves, all they needed to keep themselves alive, all they needed to feed themselves was in their land. So they had this quiet, peaceable life, secure life, and their house or their town is far away from every other person's. Geographical location is quite distant from every other person's. So this set of persons, I said, they are called the Laish people, and it happens in our day also, whereby we have people living isolated from every other persons. They live far from every other persons. You could be in the middle of the busiest town in your country, yet you are living a life of isolation, whereby you distance yourself from every other person, from every social gathering, from every association, from everything that could bring you together in contact with people. Now, there are several reasons that could actually prompt people to choose a life of isolation, to live isolated, to live solitary from every other person. Now, it could be like the Laish people, that they have everything they needed to themselves. They have this self-sufficiency. They could sustain themselves, so they had no need to do business with any other person. Now, but it could also be in the other way, whereby due to anxiety, one could choose to live isolated from every other person. One could, because of depression, we could have actually had some major depression at some point in life, whereby you choose to distance yourself from every other person. It could be due to insecurity, yes, and then might be as a result of reaction to some sort of trauma that had happened in the past, that one chooses to live in isolation, or maybe some health conditions. So regardless, there are enough reasons one could actually give to live alone. But the people of Laish lived also in isolation. They lived alone, but something happened to them that was quite dreadful. And what happened to them was, in that account, there are a set of persons called the people of Dan. They were looking for a place to settle in. They were looking for a land they could acquire, and then they sent out their spies. 5 of them, men. They went and then they saw the land of the Laish people, a set of persons that are living quite peaceably, secured, and their land is good, full of everything you could ever need, and they were living alone. And they noticed also that their land is far from the Zidonites. Those are the set of persons that are still a little bit closer to them, but they were still far, very far from them. So the Danites decided to strike them, to go after them, to get what they have. And they did that, and the people of Laish fell to the edge of the sword. They fell, they conquered them, and they took over their land. And it was recorded in that account that they all fell because there was no help for them. Nobody was close enough to render them help. Now the same thing happens to us in this day. We live alone, we live isolated from others. We live because we have everything we need to ourselves, but yet there are a lot of dangers that come with living alone. There are a lot of dangers that come with staying alone, because when you live alone or you stay alone, you become vulnerable to the attack of anyone that wants to get over you. Now, the Laish people lived as though there is no danger. They were so complacent. They were unsuspecting of any harm. They were not watching for any threat. It was even recorded that they had no judge or no magistrate, as it were, amongst them. There was nothing in place to keep them secured, and the Danites saw that and took advantage of them. Now, the same thing was written in the book of 1 Peter 5 and verse 8, that we should be careful. We should watch, for our enemy, the devil, looks about, seeking whom he may devour. Now, this is my advice, this is my counsel for you. Don't live alone. Please, I beg you, by the mercies of God, don't stay alone. Don't think you can do everything yourself, regardless of what the past has been or what the present is or what you think the future holds. Yet there are good people that can come around you. Not everyone is bad, not everyone is evil. If you open forth yourself, you will meet good people that will not take advantage of you. The people in Laish thought they were protecting themselves by living so far away, but yet they opened themselves up, became so vulnerable to the attack of the enemy. They were taken down. When you live in isolation, you open up yourself for attack. You need other people's encouragement. You need strength from other brethren. The Bible says, how good and pleasant is it for brethren to dwell together in unity. It's a very good thing, because you will be able to find help. The Laish people couldn't get help because they lived so far. Now, the account of the Laish is in the book of Judges, chapter number 18. You can read through from verse 1 to the end, and you will see what became of them, all because they isolated themselves. Now, there is a reason why there are people around you. There's a reason why you have neighbors. There's a reason why you have friends. There's a reason why you have colleagues. They are all there to be able to help you and not to let you fall. So please, encouraging you today to please find a shoulder you can lean on. Find the arms of whom you can rest on. In times of troubles and trials and tribulations, you will need help. When there is any attack, you will need help. Don't live in isolation. God bless you real good. Amen.